Peter Obi is the first presidential candidate in Nigeria that got 95% of votes in his state. Senator Sen.Dansadau. Hey guys, welcome back to Prospect Channel TV. Thank you for always coming out here. If you are just joining us, please kindly subscribe and don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Thank you. The chairman of the Board of Trustees of the National Rescue Movement, Senator Saidu Mohammed Dansadau, has alleged that the claims being made by the Labour Party that the 2023 election was rigged is untrue. Senator Dansadau, speaking in an interview with Arise TV News, stated categorically that Peter Obi in the first candidate in the history is the first candidate in the history of Nigeria to get 95% of votes in his own state. If you will recall that Peter Obi had also set aside the fact that he was surprised that he did not get 100% in Anambra State. The senator argued that if Peter Obi could get such a number of votes in his state and still had gone ahead to defeat Bola Tinubu in Lagos, there is no way anyone could say that the election was rigged. According to him, Nigerian politicians have to develop their mindset towards accepting defeat in any election cycle. He ascertained that if the Labour Party had won the election, they wouldn't have talked about rigging in the last election. He said, out of 24 years of uninterrupted democracy, yet we have not developed the culture of accepting defeat. This is worrisome, and everybody that loses an election claims that it was rigged. Take, for example, the Labour Party candidate, Peter Obi, who scored the highest votes cast in his hometown, and then he defeated Bola Tinubu in his own state. So where do you start talking about rigging? If you look at the history and statistics of elections in this country, you find out that there had never been a presidential candidate that got 95% of votes casted in his state. Remarkably, Peter Obi is the first presidential candidate in Nigeria that got 95% of the votes in his state, but here the party is complaining that the election was rigged after defeating Tinubu in his hometown. So probably if Labour Party had won the election, they wouldn't have raised any issue about election rigging, he had said. Well, Nigerians have reacted to this. But before we go into the comment section, I just want to point out something here. You see, the problem we have in Nigeria is Nigeria government. Nigerian government is the problem Nigerians are facing. If the president of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, have stood, asked Nigerians, he told Nigerians, see this incoming election, this presidential election and the other elections that are to come is going to be transparent. I will make sure that this election is going to be free and fair. He said that he made that promise. And he also said he wants to keep a legacy, that is the transparency of the election. He said that. Okay, President Muhammadu Buhari aside now. Now, talking about the INEC. INEC used 2 years to prepare for this election. Yes, INEC spent billions of naira for this election to be credible. Excellent. According to the INEC chairman, he said, in the history of Nigerians' election, this is going to be the best election so far. But what did we get with all the promises and all that? See, we have to understand something. INEC failed. Nigerian government failed in this just concluded presidential election and primary election. Do you think if INEC played his own game perfectly, anyone will come out to start challenging these election results? No. So they failed. If anybody is challenging the result or whatever, you should not blame the person. You should blame the government and blame INEC. That is the truth. INEC failed in its own part by refusing to upload the results on the INEC server after the elections. Because hadn't be say those results was uploaded, everybody they see alive. Peter Obi they see say they fail. He no go come out today come say he won't challenge Bola Ahmed Tinubu presidential election process. If Atiku Abubakar, why the election was going on, saw his results, the way it was being uploaded by to the INEC server, I don't think anyone will come out to say the election was rigged. So people are coming out to say the election was rigged because INEC failed. And instead of INEC to at least look into those things Nigerians were pointing out, so many irregularities, discrepancies, voter suppressions, beavers failures and all that, they are telling us glitches and all that. But we can't see here last say there is nothing like glitches. So that all those things were deliberately, the beavers machines were deliberately turned off. Now, the question is, why is it that this only affected the presidential election? Because it's not only presidential election was done that very day. So anybody who is coming out to say Obi is making noise or Obi is just talking, thank God he said Obi got 95%. Even the president-elect, Obi won in his own state. So what are we talking about? I am not trying to justify anybody here, but we just have to say the truth. Obi got 95% in his own state, which has never happened before in the history of this country. So that means Peter Obi, what is the people's will? So why are they just trying to turn this? There is no way you can say this. INEC failed Nigerians. INEC betrayed Nigerians. For the first time in the history, Nigerians came out in mass to cast their votes because they want their voice to be heard. But they were turned down. The same story of vote not a count. That was what happened. Because last, they just have to go back to their usual way of their conducting election. So very unfortunate to say. I'm dropping it here. Kindly share your thoughts below the comment section. Please do not forget to subscribe to this channel if you have not. Thank you.